So this is part 2. Now we're going to take this map and put it onto our drawing. So we've already mapped out the anchor points, the angles, the negative space, and the outline. We drew the outline on our paper. And now we're going to transfer these marks onto here. So basically I'm trying to recreate this map on here. So I automatically know that this is going to be an anchor point because it's in the middle of the paper and it's already at the center of those two axes. And I know that this is going to be an anchor point because it's where the thumb lines up with the x-axis. So I can go ahead and put those two in as anchor points that I already know. Now I have to make sure that my papers are at the same angle, because if this paper is at a different angle, then when I transfer my marks, it's not going to line up. So I have to make sure that I keep these at the same angle as each other. All right, I'm basically going to connect the dots. So I'm going to choose one of these two to start, and I'm going to line up my pencil along that blue line that I drew. Then I keep my pencil at the same angle, and I move it over to my paper. And I draw that mark. Remember that your eraser is your best friend. So that's not quite right. I want it to be more up there. I think we're going to keep going back and forth and checking. Okay, I like that. So now I know that this point is somewhere along this line. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing from the thumb and line it up along the blue. And it goes at this angle. Let's check that. Okay, I like that, which means that where those two lines intersect is where that anchor point is. Okay, now I'm going to use this information and I'm going to go up to find this one. Let me double check those because that looks like slightly off. That's right. And that's right. Okay, I think it's maybe a little bit more over here. So we're going to erase this and redraw this line. Okay. So from here up, I now am going to line up my blue from that anchor point. I know it's at this angle, so I know that anchor point is there. Okay, now I'm going to do from this anchor point up to here and lining up my pencil. Okay, making sure that I bring it over, and it is something like this. Remember, if you draw softly or lightly, you can erase more easily. Now I'm going to do here to the pointer finger, and I know where these two intersect is where my pointer finger ends. So you can tell from my outline, I did not get that in the right place, and that's okay. All right, so now I can continue mapping this out. I want to know where the webbing is, so I can use this one and go over. It's somewhere along this line, and I can connect up to here to find where this one goes. Somewhere along here, and I know that it's super close to the axis, so it's somewhere right around there. I can check this one right by connecting these points. Okay, and I can check this one. Let's compare it to that point. I can always draw new lines if I need to. Okay, so that's about right there. And now I've started to map out where my fingers are. Okay, let's get this line on there. That's pretty close. I need to scoot that over just a little bit. There we go. Okay. So after I've gotten those, I'm going to pretend like I finished this whole thing. I'm going to start using my negative space to then start to actually outline my fingers. So I'm going to look, and I'm going to change this negative space a little bit, or this outline a little bit to be more accurate. Okay. So I've got this for the top of my outline. I'm basically trying to recreate the same yellow shape on this. So I start at this anchor point, and I know that the edge of the finger, or the edge of the yellow space, goes like this. Comes to kind of a point, it curves out, and right about here, it crosses my blue line. It dips in just a little bit. Oh, I'm off. So again, eraser is your best friend. It's good. Okay, so this needs to actually be longer. Here we go. And then it starts to connect. It dips in about here because then by the time it reaches this point, it's crossed back around. Okay, so this is my basic shape. Then this comes down. This loops underneath, comes back and crosses the axis, and there. So theoretically, this shape, if I go back in and refine it a little bit, should be the same as this one. I don't have to color it in yellow, but I can if I want. So then I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. This one comes down, it almost touches that blue line. Here it does cross the blue line, and then it's going to come down like that. Okay. So after I do this whole step, so I've used my negative space, I can also go back in and I can check my anchor points. So I can draw a new point, or a new line from here to here that I can then line up and see if that joint on my finger is in the right place. And it looks like it's pretty close. I might have to push this out a little bit. So that's my last check I can do. And then after, I'm going to go in and start shading with where it's dark. I'm going to make it dark, like on the side of the finger here. Here it's a little bit lighter, so that'll be light. Over here is darker, so I'm shading. And then I'm also going to add the details of the lines. And that's the last step.